I'm Terrence James, and you're watching another episode of Neutral Reviews, where we do real reviews for real decisions. And today, we are looking at the 2022 Jeep Rubicon Unlimited, and I have borrowed the keys for this vehicle from Glassford Chrysler in Ingersoll, Ontario. That has a fantastic location, welcoming atmosphere, small town feel, and who offers some of the most durable and capable vehicles on the planet, including this one. Now, the Wrangler has gone through 4 generations now, had many variations, and even had different names. But one thing has always remained the same. It's always been a very durable and capable vehicle, and one of the most durable and capable trims has always been the Rubicon. But not many people can afford toys nowadays, so toys have to become all things for all people. So in 2018, Jeep brought out this new JL design with a more comfortable interior, better tech, and more flexible powertrain options. And as you can see, you can even get a Rubicon nowadays in 4 doors. And if you don't think that's a big deal, just try to remember the last time you saw a stretch 911. So we take a look at the facts, feels, and final thoughts of the 2022 Jeep Rubicon Unlimited, to see if it is in fact a durable, capable toy that you can drive every day. So let's take a look. Now, the Wrangler holds a unique spot in Jeep's lineup, similar to a 911 for Porsche, including the GT variants above it. Now, it's because it's not just another SUV within a lineup that you pick based on your budget. No, it's something that you save up for so you can live with. Now, this base Unlimited Rubicon here starts around $55,995 Canadian plus fees and taxes. And this one here is optioned out to about $70,490 Canadian plus fees and taxes. And you can get all the way up to $101,445 Canadian plus fees and taxes for that $392. And if you're looking to go green, you can always get that 4xe, which is approximately the same starting price as this Unlimited here. But let's talk competition. Now, you're looking at the Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro, which is probably as capable and durable as this, but it's really not quite the same thing. Really, you're looking at the all-new Ford Bronco, which is really probably the first time Jeep has had a real competitor that I can remember in a long time, because both the Jeep and that Bronco offer something that Toyota can't, which is top-down fun. So let's talk performance. Now, the Rubicon offers 4 engine choices, but probably the most popular one and the one to go with is that tried and true and now well-established 3.6-liter V6 Pentastar. Reason being, it's a very capable and durable engine that has plenty of power that you need for both on and off-road use. But if you're looking for a little bit more pep in your step for daily driving, they do offer a 2-liter turbocharged engine, but some people online are saying that it's a little too twitchy for off-road use if you're into that. Now, you can also get that 3-liter Eco Diesel, which is going to be your most efficient choice, but it's also going to be a heavier engine. And you can get that 6.4-liter crazy Hemi 392 version of this that we won't even mention the fuel economy, but let's be honest, nobody's buying that one for fuel economy. The ones that are buying those for fuel economy are probably looking at that 4xe, but just a warning to you, it's actually not that efficient of an engine when it's not plugged in. The reason being is because of all those extra batteries in that small engine that has to pull it around. So one of the things that we want to look at with this engine is the horsepower and torque. So that Pentastar V6, you're looking at 285 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. And you're probably looking at around 21 miles per gallon combined average, or 11 liters per 100. And it is capable of rocketing this 4,500-pound 4-door rock crawler from 0 to 60 in around 7.5 seconds. Now, when we're talking that power, it needs to go through a transmission, and you have 2 choices. You have either that conventional 6-speed manual, which I would recommend if you're able, because it's going to be more fun, engaging, and is actually faster 0 to 60. But they do offer what we have here today, a 8-speed automatic that works well, and that runs through a 4-wheel drive system, but it's not an all-wheel drive system. If you want the all-wheel drive system like conventional SUVs nowadays, you're going to have to get that crazy 392 version. So what this has is the tried and true tested transfer, or your 4-wheel drive system, which basically only engages when you physically do so to get these front wheels engaged. Now, reason why they do that is because it's going to be able to get you out of some sticky situations with locking differentials that most SUVs nowadays can't. So now when we talk about steering, and one of the other things too to mention about the Rubicon, that 4-wheel drive actually has True Lock, which is upgraded with those locking differentials, and you have an electronic sway bar that you can disconnect in the rear as well to give you a little bit more suspension travel and it has a 4-to-1 low gear ratio as well. Now, when we talk steering, the Rubicon uses an electro-hydraulic steering system. Reason being is it keeps it feeling more natural, but doesn't steal any of the engine's power. Now, one of the things here, we have these beautiful 17-inch machined aluminum wheels with these 33-inch off-road tires that I've filled full of mud. And one of the things to keep in mind too, if you're serious about off-roading that 392, you can actually get the beaded locks for your wheels to make sure that rubber doesn't come off your rims when you're lowering the pressures down when you're doing your rock crawling. And here are some of the facts of other stats that you'd be into if you're off-roading with your approach, your breakover, and your departure angles. Now, also when we're talking brakes, because you got to stop, this uses four-wheel disc with ABS, of course, nowadays, and you got 2 pistons in the front, 1 piston in the rear. And one of the things too that we want to mention as we come back here is we want to talk about suspension. Now, suspension, again, this uses a very traditional design like it did not too long after the war with your solid axles. And one of the things with the Rubicon as well, these axles are the Dana 44s, to make sure that we mention that as well. So they're more heavy-duty axles. But one thing that they have done in recent years, including on the JL, is modernize it a little bit by making it a 4-link control arm setup. So it is a little bit more modern in that sense. But still, it's a very rugged, capable, and durable design, and that's the reason why they do it. So let's talk chassis. And the Wrangler still uses a conventional body-on-frame design way back from the 1940s. And the reason why they do this is because it's still the most capable and durable setup for a vehicle that is going to be seriously off-roaded. And speaking of off-roading, one of the things they do with this frame is you've got skid plates everywhere, and actual serious ones that are very thick and very durable and capable, of course. And when we look down here, I see an exhaust pipe, and it sounds like this. And when this vehicle is properly equipped like this one is, it can tow up to 3,500 pounds, which is the equivalent to one of these active urban lifestyles hanging off the back of your Rubicon. Now that we have gone through the facts, let's take this for a drive and see how they feel. Okay, so it's time for our traffic light Grand Prix acceleration test, and we're going to do it like we got a load full of kids in the back. So we got our left foot on the brake and right foot, here we go. There's 100. Now, is it the world's fastest vehicle? No, but it feels like that 7.5 seconds or so that they claim. Okay, it's now time to do our emergency brake style type test, like we got a load full of kids, and we hope all those dirty diapers don't come up here. So here we go. Okay, so we're gonna get going at good speed again, pretty much close to 100 like we were before. We're just going back in the opposite direction. And now hard on the brakes. And as you can see, it's a nice controlled stop. Okay, so now what we want to do is our handling test. And this is a great one because we're getting onto the highway. So this is a prime example of where you're going to be using this because you're probably not off-roading at a ton. And even if you are, you got to get there. And how does it deal on the highway? Well, that was impressive. I tell you that. That was super, super impressive. We're going to do part of our noise, vibration, and harshness test. So we're definitely not off-roading this brand new vehicle. We're just in an empty parking lot here that some bulldozers have been through and turning around. But I just want to show you the Rubicon, just how well that the suspension can handle those bumps with those gas shocks and these big tires. Obviously you can see me moving in here as well as the suspension undulating. But considering, you know, the severity of those bumps, if you will, you know, even in a normal pickup truck, in a Dodge Ram or an F-150, you're going to really feel those where this just kind of floated right over them. Now when we talk styling, I mean, what is there to say? It is an iconic vehicle. We use the Porsche 911 as an example for a reason, because that is another iconic vehicle. You don't have to be into cars. Most people know what a 911 is, and most people know what a Jeep Wrangler is. And the amazing thing is, unlike Porsche, even though Jeep has now become a brand with many, many popular vehicles, some of the most popular vehicles on the road for many, many decades, the amazing thing is when people say Jeep, it's synonymous with this, the Wrangler. People just know when you say Jeep, that's what you mean. And that is because of this iconic shape. It really doesn't look a lot different from the originals, the Willys, back in the World War II time. And I really appreciate that about this. And again, that 911 is very similar. They've kept to their roots because they found a design that worked, and then they modernized it over the years. So of course you got those beautiful modern headlights and tail lights, fog lights. You've got modern styling and with things like your hood scoops, things like that. Of course, you got those beautiful wheels, you got those rails on the side, and you know, just that overall shape, that utilitarian shape. That's timeless and classic, and that goes on in here as well. You've got that same type of idea. This looks very heritage to me. It really does, and I really love this metal colored here panels. And you know what you have to say in here as well is not only is it functional and ergonomic, I can reach everything and get to everything, which is important not only for day to day, but especially when you're off-roading. There's things like, we'll talk about the steering wheel in a second, but there's no little holes here for your thumb to catch or anything if you're doing serious off-roading. You have a real handle here, you've got real handle here, and they put very durable but not ugly materials. And they've mixed in, because this is a premium trim, beautiful leather, and you got the red stitching. I like the aluminum type looks over here. What else to talk about? I mean, when it comes to that type of stuff, everything just really works. Even on the doors, they still put little netting there. There's not really any door pockets for cup holders or things like that, because these doors come off. And again, if you're off-roading, you don't want things flying all around. But there still is a lot of function, because as we said, these are used day to day. You know, you got nice armrest over here that matches up over here for, again, comfort and ergonomics. Double storage here, you got that, and then you can lift it up and there's even more, and you got even another USB-C in there to keep things hidden and plugged in, which is nice. And it looks like it would be easy to keep clean as well. It looks like it's rubber and a nice hard materials that would look easy to clean. And as we said, when you got other little nooks and crannies here that you can put stuff, cup holders. You do have cup holders in the front here, and again, there's only 2 of them, but they look like they would actually work, and not only work, that they could fit multiple different water bottles and things like that day to day, which again is probably what you're looking for. But if you're off-roading and you're thirsty, it looks like they would keep things pretty snug in here as well, because they're a little bit taller and not too thin that you can't fit stuff, but they've got these little rubberized catchy things here for your water bottles. So I really think that would work well. And again, this has got carpets in them, but Jeeps are famous for the utility in these things. Like, you can take the carpets out and there's plugs in the drains in the floor, at least all the Jeeps I ever had, and I couldn't imagine them doing it any different now. So you can go, because these can water for it, and especially the Rubicon, because this is the hardcore variant. Yes, you have the 392 with a couple of extra things like the Fox shocks and bigger, more powerful and things like that, and a few other little things. But for the most part, this is a super heavy duty, out of the box type off-roader. And you can really see that in here with that level of function and durability. But again, as we said, they needed to modernize it, which they did in 2018 on this JL platform by putting a comfortable interior. And that's exactly what you have. These seats are very, very comfortable. I really, really like them. Are they super, super comfortable? No. But I could definitely do a 2-3 hour trip in them, absolutely no problem. Fit many different body types. They are nice, but they also look like a durable type leather or whatever material they're using, which again is appreciated when you are getting dirty. Same with the back seats. Again, very similar how they feel when you're sitting there. As you can see, there's lots of height room, lots of leg room. Now, yeah, to be fair, I'm not the world's tallest person. I'm only 5'7", but yeah, there's still lots of room there because of the shape of this vehicle and the wheelbase, which is 118.4 inches, which is similar to your Bronco, as we were saying, and the others in the competition. But just the way that everything's packaged in here, and with the roof, you do feel like you have a lot of space. You really do, front or back. Those seats are 60/40. Oh, one thing to mention too, there is more function. You have 2 cup holders in that armrest that come down, which is nice, and they are 60/40 split. And as you can see, there's lots and lots of space back there. One of the things I want to keep talking about, when you go to the back, even when those seats are up, you still have a fair amount of room back there, as much as any CUV or SUV that's midsize or smaller, definitely. And again, because of the height of that roof, you got a lot of room back there. And you see there's a 12-volt plug-in. There's a little storage there with a plug that you can put things where there would normally be a tire. This vehicle, they don't have it put on yet, but you do have a full-size spare, I believe, this being the Rubicon, which looks nice. And again, if you are off-roading, it's nice to have that function. And when we talk about function, day-to-day type stuff, when you're in here, you got your infotainments and you got your gauge clusters here. And one thing that I love the manual, or analog gauges, I should say. I'm a sucker for those. I have a GTI that still has those, a Mark 7, and I've got a new BRZ, when I say new, 2020, so the last of the first generation, and it has got the same style as set up here, where you got your analog gauges, but you do have a very informative, and in this, so much better than my car, a very nice, clear center gauge here that's digital with so much information on here. Just even at a glance, you put it on your speedometer, which is what most people probably have it, and what gear you're in, fuel, and your temperature, what direction, and the temperature outside. But as you can see, when you scroll through those, you've got your screen set up, you've got messages, you've got your audio. You can change things like your start, stop, which you can also do down here, as you can see. But the trip info, this is neat. You got lots of stuff there. Fuel economy, that's interesting. And each one of these have several pages, but the one I want to concentrate here is this off-road, because if you are off-roading, this is really handy. It's going to show you your pitch and roll. So really dynamically in there as you're going, you can see what angle you're on, because sometimes, I tell you what, it feels very scary when you're off-roading. I used to work for Jeep years ago, so this is a lot of fun for me to do this review and to see where Jeep has come to since I left the company. But it's amazing how nice this is in here and everything else like that. But one thing that I wanted to say was we used to go to a thing called Jeep College every year, and I think it was in Bobcaygeon, Ontario. Anyway, it was a serious thing, and they had real off-roaders there and trainers and everything. And I was always amazed at what an out-of-the-box Jeep could do. And that went for all the Jeep products, even the Cherokees and the Grand Cherokees and the Patriots and all those different ones we were selling at the time. But of course, the Wranglers and the TJs, they were absolutely phenomenal. Like water right down where my feet are driving around. I could never imagine. Of course, you got snorkels and but back to the pitch and roll, there'd be times where I thought for sure I was going to fall right over, but I knew that what the roll angle was that this vehicle could do. And this is so handy because you can see right in here on your screen, okay, I don't need to worry, I'm still within those limits. And we talk about off-roading things when we're in here. You've got things like your four-wheel drive system that we said that you have to be very careful with. This is a heavy-duty one where you can lock those differentials, and this isn't the type of system where it's all-wheel drive, where you're going to drive this all the time. It's rear-wheel drive right now, and if I want to engage this, I have to do it physically, and I have to do it when I'm doing straight, because when you're going around corners, as we were saying, wheels turn at different speeds depending on whether you're on the inside or the outside of that corner. So that outside wheel has to travel much faster to keep up, and it can't do it in a system, a straight axle system like this, without that extra sophistication that the new SUVs have. But it will get you out of a jam that most SUVs won't, as we said. Now, a lot of that control is down here. You can shut a lot of that down here with your diffs. You turn that locking diffs on and off. You've got your sway bar removal, and also what I really like here, being a Rubicon, that people actually will off-road this thing. You can see here that you have auxiliary buttons, and you got 4 of them, because you're going to have winches and all that type of stuff that you're going to hook up aftermarket, and it's nice to have pretty buttons in here in a really nice interior. You don't want big ugly buttons that somebody's just kind of shoved on there, in the aftermarket. So that's really, really great. And when we're talking about infotainment, because that's what you got to have nowadays, especially for the kiddos and everyone else, this is great. And nobody knows, including myself, how to get anywhere. I don't know how to read a map. So this is great. You got your navigation, as you can see here, and you got your everyday stuff. But what I have to say, it's been years since I've been in a Jeep. I know that they've done lots of improvements, and one of the things they do really well is their infotainment. But it's almost overwhelming for me in the sense of there is so much information on here, and they've kind of gone over the top and tried to do several different things in different locations. So for instance, you have a front camera on this because you're going to need it for off-roading, so you can get it on those off-road pages, but you can also access it on other pages as well. But I tell you, is that ever handy even in day-to-day to be able to turn that front camera on, especially when you're off-roading. As we said, you want to see what those boulders are, you can't see what your diff is coming up to. That's all really important. But even day-to-day, it's hard to park these things sometimes. It's hard to know where you're at. So I think all cars should have that front camera, and I'm sure they will sooner than later. So that's wonderful too. Now, if you're into music, as if you watch most of my videos, I'm not. But hey, I've got ears and I like to listen to stuff, and it sounds amazing in here. You got this Alpine upgraded sound system, as you can see, with the speakers and the subwoofer in the back and things like that. And it works really, really well, I have to say that, which leads me to my final thoughts. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, and check out one of our other enthusiast reviews so we can get more cool cars like this one and our upcoming review on a Jaguar. Now, we started off this review by looking to see if this was the capable, durable toy that you could use every day. And here are the facts and feels that we used to come up with this final thought. Which is, if you are in the market for a, generally speaking, super fun vehicle that you can also drive year-round and have complete confidence in and take in some serious off-roading adventures, I would say that you cannot go wrong with the 2022 Jeep Rubicon Unlimited. And the reason being is, yes, it's a little noisy. Yes, it wanders a little bit. And generally speaking, it's not the best on fuel. But you know what? None of those things matter when you take the top off and you take those doors off and you go somewhere really fun, because there is not many vehicles in the world that you can buy at this price point that can do what this can and take you to the places this can. So, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.